All right, let's talk about Joe Biden, old creepy, sleepy Uncle Joe. The past few days I've put out some articles that got me particularly revved up, and probably brought out a little bit more of my angry side. But I don't want you guys to think that that's all I am. So of course, when it comes to Democrats, when it comes to the media, yeah, I get a little heated, I get a little angry. But I'm putting out a Michael Flynn video today, which always puts a smile on my face, and here we're talking about Joe Biden, which as well puts a smile on my face because it's just fun seeing that this is who the Democrats are putting out there. So this is from Fox News. Biden says he won't hold. Biden says he won't hold rallies due to coronavirus. Biden told reporters, "I'm going to follow the doc's orders, not just for me, but for the country." I think we can see through that pretty easily. I think we know that the real reason he is not holding rallies is because he cannot string together more than two sentences without saying something either entirely racist, entirely mean, or entirely incoherent. So, I mean, it's really for his own protection. This is not just for me, so it is at least a little bit for him. He's admitting it's at least a little bit for him. I mean, of course, we know it's entirely for him and the DNC. I've got a feeling if Biden wanted to go out there, and I just imagine that Biden probably wants to go out and have these rallies, and he has this image of in his head that he'll have twice the crowd of Donald Trump, and they'll be twice as raucous, and they'll all be cheering, "Joe Biden, Biden, Biden," and he'll be sitting there with the glowing lights on him, and after 2 failed presidential runs, the third will be the lucky charm. So he's probably got that in his head, and then he probably spouted that idea out to his campaign manager, and they're just like, "Joe, have you heard yourself talk? Last thing we're doing is putting you in front of anybody. So get back in the basement and let the operatives at the DNC run this." So anyways, all jokes aside, before we get into this, please remember, subscribe to the channel, like, share, comment. Let me know what you think of this video. Let me know what you want to hear me talk about. I am here to give you guys what you want, so long as it's in my wheelhouse. Also, don't forget to follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Parler. Honestly, the two that I'm using most right now are Parler and Facebook. You can find me there at Thorburn. Parler, I'm loving, by the way. I've been waving the Parler flag all day. So far, my experience with Parler has been fantastic. I love it as a social media platform. In fact, it's making me hate social media a little bit less. So follow me on there. Also, if you'd like to contribute to the channel, I've got links to my PayPal, Patreon, and Subscribestar down below. So if you feel like I'm doing a good job and want to toss me a couple shekels, then it'd be greatly appreciated. So anyways, let's go ahead and get into this now that the shameless plugs are out of the way. Contrasting himself with President Trump, presumptive Democratic challenger Joe Biden on Tuesday said that he won't be holding campaign rallies going forward due to the coronavirus. Yet he's perfectly okay with all the protests and marches and all that. But as we've seen, from all the news reports, that there's a magic way in which if you get together and you protest the lockdowns, it hyperactivates the coronavirus and it just starts bouncing from person to person like a rubber ball in a crowd. But if you go out there and you say the words "Black Lives Matter," all of a sudden the coronavirus knows the words that the breath is attached to, and it knows to just stay back in the back of your throat. It knows not to go out and infect the other protesters. It's amazing. I mean, we have this it's like a social justice. It's a social justice virus. So the evolution of viruses is just, I mean, all right. I'm being a jackass right now. I know it. All right. So let's see. When asked if he would hold large-scale rallies, which public health experts warn against, they didn't warn against protests and riots, though. Biden told reporters, "I'm going to follow the doc's orders, not just for me, but for the country. And that means I'm not going to hold any rallies. That means I'm not going to put my foot in my mouth in public anymore." Except for, when he absolutely has to come out of his basement and open his mouth. I mean, all it takes is 3 sentences, and you got yourself a nice little Trump clip there. Or a clip for a Trump ad. And the former vice president holding a news conference for the first time in nearly 3 months. How are you running for president and you don't hold a press conference for 3 months? Is this guy even running? Is he? I mean, is he even trying? It's like absentee candidate, but he's really going to fight for you if he becomes the president. Holds a news conference for the first time in nearly 3 months, acknowledged that the latest polling data is very good. Yeah, I don't believe the polling data. But with more than 4 months to go until the November election, Biden also said it's really early, and he said that he didn't want to jinx him. I don't want to jinx myself. Sorry, I gotta drink. Ooh, get my throat dry. All right. Yes, it is really early, and here's the thing. I'm one of the crowd that I don't think Joe Biden is actually going to be the nominee, and if he is the nominee, he's essentially the placeholder for whoever he picks as his vice president. So I think that there's a reason why. I mean, first of all, I think there's multiple reasons why the polling data is good for Biden. One, I think the polls are full of shit. Two, I mean, we already saw that CNN poll where they put Biden like 13 points or something ahead of Trump, and then you realize that they only polled like 24, I think it was 24 or 25% Republicans, even though registered Republicans typically make up 33% of the electorate. And so when you factor them back in there, it just completely nullified the swing. So we all know that the polls are a scam. We also don't know, they haven't fixed their polling problems from 2016. So we're seeing the same problems all over again. But also, I believe Trump isn't really trying yet. I don't think Trump is really campaigning yet. I think he's trying to rally up his base, of course. But part of the Trump strategy is going after people that are typically maybe disengaged, or they haven't, maybe they're like default Democrats. You know, the culture is Democrat. The pop culture is Democrat, so a lot of people are just like, yeah, I'll vote Democrat because I'm part. Most people they know, most of their influences, most of the stuff they see are Democrat. But at the end of the day, they don't really care. They'll just go and vote Democrat because they're default Democrats. But as we saw in like that shooting in Provo, you get some Mormon guy all of a sudden gets shot. Well, I don't know if he was Mormon. It's in Provo, so I'm assuming there's a high chance he's Mormon. But, he's just driving his car, doesn't realize there's a protest, runs into it, gets shot for no reason. And, I mean, the Mormons are a tight-knit community. Now, they may not like the brashness of Donald Trump, but they're sure as shit not going to want Joe Biden, who's going to let these people who are shooting their own community run roughshod over his administration. So they're going to, there's all these people that are going to be activated in places that weren't necessarily activated by Trump. So I think Trump right now is sitting back and letting just showing everybody the damage that the Democrats are going to do, or the damage that they're not going to prevent these radical Marxists from doing, and that's giving them the leeway that they aren't the Marxists themselves. But we'll let you make up. I'll let you make up your own mind about that. But I think he's just sitting back and letting the chaos activate people who maybe were not engaged or would not have been Trump supporters before, and all of a sudden they're going to come out in mass for him. And I think that's, he's waiting to find out who the official nominee is going to be and who the vice president nominee is going to be. So I think he's waiting for that for the convention. And then after that, I think once he knows what his actual opposition is going to be, he's going to stand up in full force, and he's going to start unleashing. I think he's got a lot of cards up his sleeves that he hasn't played yet. And I think he's holding off until after the Democrat convention, and then I think it's just going to be an onslaught, and Trump and the Democrats, Joe Biden, they're going to disintegrate. Now that's I'm no fortune teller. I don't know exactly. It's just the feeling that I get. So the 77-year-old also pushed back against claims by Trump and his campaign that Biden's lost his mental sharpness, saying he's constantly testing for cognitive decline. First of all, he's admitting that he has to be tested constantly for cognitive decline. If you have to be constantly tested for cognitive decline, are you really well positioned for an 8-year run as president? No, you're not. So he's constantly being tested for cognitive decline because, like, it's one of those things that, okay, first of all, we know that he has cognitive decline. It's apparent. Either that or he's faking it. It's one of the two. And I know there are conspiracies that he's faking it. Some people think he's faking it so that Donald Trump underestimates him, and then all of a sudden he stands up and he's, going at it. Others think that he's faking it because people realize, or the DNC realized that he's never going to have any support behind him, so they threw the support behind Biden, knowing that he was the candidate that they could bait and switch out, and this is what's going to be the impetus for that. So I don't really believe either of those are true. Honestly, I think he is losing his marbles. I think he is. But those are just some of the theories that people are putting out there. But I am of the mind that he really is actually losing his marbles. So let's see. He's constantly being tested for cognitive decline, and he's stressed that he's anxious to compare his mental capabilities with those of the president, and that he can hardly wait to debate Trump in autumn. I don't think those were exact words. I think they actually show his exact words later, which I'll wait for them to comment on. Biden started campaigning exclusively online, holding virtual events from his home in Wilmington, Delaware. In March, as the coronavirus pandemic shut down, much of the nation was hold on, sorry. I think I might have missed a comma in there or something. Let me reread that. Biden started campaigning exclusively online, holding virtual events from his home in Wilmington, Delaware in mid-March as the coronavirus pandemic shut down much of the nation and forced most Americans to huddle in their homes to prevent the spread of the virus. But since Memorial Day, he has ventured outside, holding roughly a dozen small-scale events and speeches, mostly in Delaware or neighboring Pennsylvania. Now, I'm kind of the mind that they're small-scale not by choice. I think they're small-scale because that's the crowd that Biden draws. And then we see that when he does these, he goes out and he goes, "Hey fat," or "Hey fats," or something like that. He calls somebody fat, or he was speaking at a union thing, and somebody was asking about guns, and he threatens to take the guy outside and beat him up while talking about AR-14s. And of course, it was the infamous dog-faced pony soldier line. He called some woman a lion dog-faced pony soldier at one of his events, and then he tried to say it was from a John Wayne movie, and it was not. So we now just have Biden calling one of his supporters a woman, nonetheless, a lying dog-faced pony soldier. Guess who's probably voting for Trump now? I mean, honestly, a Biden rally is almost like a double-edged sword. It's also a Trump rally, because you're going to see a lot of the people just walk out of there and say, "Yeah, I didn't realize this guy was so far gone." Oh, you gotta love it. Gotta love it. Biden said that during the in-person events he's held in the past month, we keep social distancing. Everybody has masks on. As soon as I finish saying something, I put my mask on. I have traveled, but when I do, I get in, make my case, and take the questions and leave. First of all, he has no idea how weak he looks wearing that mask, and especially if you're sitting there taking it off, like, "So, I'm Joe Biden. I have this message. All right, someone else want to speak." Okay, Joe Biden, following up. It looks so weak. It looks so pathetic, so cowardly. So let's see. Oh, and also, I get in, I make my case, I take questions, and I leave. Yeah, he gets out of there quick. I don't know if you guys saw that interview where he was asked, where he said that he does the cognitive decline tests all the time. He answered that question, and I mean, he disappeared into the distance faster than I would ever think a 77-year-old man could move after answering that question. He got off that stage, out of there. He did not want to take any follow-ups to that question, and that was clear as day. It was hilarious. Anyways, he lamented, "I'd much rather be out there with people because that's where I get the greatest feel." The greatest feel of what? The greatest feel? I think that means that's where he can cop the greatest feel, if we know Joe Biden. I get a sense by the look in their eyes. A sense of what? Again. Could you say anything more pointless, Joe Biden? All right. But Biden acknowledged that we've probably reached more people directly through virtual campaigning. The irony is I think we're probably communicating directly in detail with more people than we would have otherwise, but I'd much rather do it in person. Come on, Joe. Speak honest. That line was written by his campaign manager. We know that. Biden's appearance comes as he widened his lead over the president in most of the recent national polling, which we all know is bullshit. And he also holds outright leads or small edges over Trump in key general election battleground states that will determine what candidates win in November. Still, I don't buy it. I'm not buying the polls. I don't believe it. I don't think it's real. I think they're trying to repeat 2016. I think they're trying to think of the same old trick. There was a meme that I saw one time, and it was from Mad Men, and it was John Hamm's character, Don Draper, and he's sitting there in front of a board like he's presenting a new ad thing, and it says, "So we're gonna do the Hillary campaign with a twist. Instead of Hillary, we're gonna use an old man with dementia." It was I thought it was funny. I guess you probably have to see it though. It's not funny when you talk about memes. You got to see them. Anyways, when asked about the polls, Biden cautioned, "I don't want to jinx myself. I know the polling data is very good. You're the only one that knows that. But I think it's really early. It's much too early to make any judgment. I think we have a whole lot more work to do. And I don't think you're up for any of it." Trump has slammed the polls as fake, and his campaign Sunday argued in a memo that the public polling methodology is cheaper and flawed. While Biden is abstaining from any large-scale campaign events, a week and a half ago, Trump held his first rally since the coronavirus spread across the country in March. But the event in Tulsa, Oklahoma drew smaller than expected crowds. The Trump campaign had touted that 1 million people requested tickets for the rally, but the crowds didn't materialize, with large portions of the upper deck of the 19,000 capacity arena empty as the president addressed the audience. The underwhelming size of the rally quickly became a major story. Now, a lot of that was also... So, you got to realize he's holding this rally during the coronavirus, so there are going to be people who legitimately don't want to go out and be in that big crowd. You also had violent protesters that were outside threatening to beat people up and create all kinds of chaos. But another thing that we saw, I actually saw a bunch of videos of people who were trying to go to the Trump rally, trying to get in, and they said that there were not enough screeners. So I guess they had like temperature checks or screeners or something for coronavirus going in there, and they didn't have enough of them. And so not enough people could get in, and by the time Trump gets on stage, they're not letting anybody in anymore. There are no more screeners. And, I saw a video from this lady who was posting herself outside saying, "I tried to get in, but we couldn't get in. There are thousands more of us here that all want to get in there." So I think there were plenty of crowd that showed up. I just think they weren't able to get in. And I think it had to do with the process of testing the coronavirus. There were all kinds of... the rioters. There are all kinds of factors that were limiting the ability of people to actually get into the arena. And so I think the underwhelming size of the rally was actually because of that. And I'm sure there were a lot of people that were just like, I'd love to go, but that's a lot of people in one place, and the coronavirus is real. So I think there were a lot of people that were just worried about that and didn't go, and also the riots. But I think there were a lot of people that tried to go and they just couldn't get in. Trump aides also pushed back, noting that the event attracted more than 4 million viewers across all of the campaign's digital media channels. Actually, I think that number is a lot lower. I heard Tim Pool was talking about it, and I think he said something that, between aggregated sources, it was a total of 12 to 13 million people watched it. So, I mean, you see all that's going on right now. You see, the massive amounts of people that watch that rally. I mean, they're still interested. They still want to hear Trump talk. They still want to support him. So they watch the rallies. You see the gun sales. I mean, the gun sales are insane. I think they were up 175% in June against May. And May, through the coronavirus, the gun store that I go to, that I was just at yesterday, they said that they've seen a 700% increase in gun sales since the coronavirus started. So, I mean, we're seeing that gun culture is alive and well. 2A has never been healthier, or at least not in modern history. 2A has never been healthier. We know that most 2A people and most 2A supporters are going to lean right, or they're at least going to be moderates. And I think Trump is going to win over a lot of these moderates because you have Joe Biden, who put Beto O'Rourke in charge of his gun policy. Yes, Beto, hell yes, I'm going to take your AR-15s, O'Rourke. Put him in charge of his gun policy. So I think you got a lot of people that have seen their neighborhoods burned down, have rushed out to get guns, realized that it's not as easy as they thought it was, realized that guns actually do have more control than uteruses, as the feminists like to say. And I think that was eye-opening to a lot of people. They realized that a lot of the stuff that they believed in is a lie, and now they're starting to question other things. And so any moderates, people who aren't completely lefty brainwashed, they're gonna start saying, well, if I was wrong about that, what else am I wrong about? And they're going to start listening to Trump. They're going to listen to Trump directly. You saw when he was doing all the coronavirus, the daily press briefings, when he was speaking live to the people, his ratings had never been higher. Because people who are actually seeing him speak for the first time, instead of seeing it filtered through the lies of the mainstream media, or just like the kind of bickering nature of his Twitter account, they were all of a sudden able to realize what the message really was, and they realized it was completely different than their perception of what they thought it was. So I think there's a lot of things going on. I think the silent majority is becoming less and less silent too. You're seeing a lot more people with the courage to stand up. I think once Trump's campaign kicks off in earnest, again, like I said, I think he's holding off. I think he's holding off until after the Democrat National Convention. I think once it gets closer to the election, we're going to see Donald Trump come out swinging, and we're going to see a lot of people who are maybe disengaged that just start saying, you know what? Let me buy one ticket for the Trump train, please. So I'm looking forward to see how that plays out. I'm optimistic, but again, don't get cocky, don't get confident, because that's one thing that we got to realize. It's not just Trump versus Joe Biden. It's Trump versus the deep state, and the deep state will do damn near anything. I mean, it's my favorite show of all time is Justified. I don't know if you guys have seen Justified, but there's a part where Boyd Crowder, played by Walton Goggins, is probably the coolest character ever. He's trying to back his own person. Boyd Crowder's an outlaw, and he's trying to back somebody in his pocket for sheriff. And on the election day, they're saying, this all takes place in Harlan County, Kentucky, and he goes, well, y'all know a Harlan election ain't done till the dead have voted. And I think we're going to see that with the Democrats. I mean, the Democrats are going to try to get the dead to vote. They're going to get the illegals to vote. They're going to fuck up the mail so that, all these states that want to have mail-in balloting, all the Republicans are not going to get their ballots, or they're going to get them and then they send them off and they get lost in the mail. So the Democrats have all kinds of dirty tricks up their sleeve. So that means no matter what, no matter how confident you are in the whole Trump versus Biden, you got to realize this is Trump versus the deep state. And the deep state, they're not as weak and pathetic as Biden. So don't get overly confident. Get out there, talk about Trump, tell people why they should vote for Trump, give clear, well-formulated messages, get that out there. And, when somebody tries to call you a racist or anything, just tell them, I flat out reject your cultural Marxist angle that you're approaching this from. Let them know that you see through their attacks. You see through their angles. They're going to, because 9 times out of 10, these people pretend to fight racism with their own racism. And you got to be able to point that out to them. You got to be able to point that out to them. You got to be able to hold the mirror up in front of them and say, no, you're projecting onto me what's really inside your heart. I think, like I said, like the Flynn letter I read in my other video, there's children of light versus children of dark, and we got to hold that mirror up and shine the light back into the dark recesses of these people's souls. And some of them will wake up, some of them are going to be beyond hope. But anyways, I've gone off on a tangent here, so let me get back to the article. Let's see. Days ahead of the Tulsa rally, announced upcoming. Okay, here we go. Yeah. Trump, let's see, where was I? Oh yeah, 4 million viewers across the campaign's digital channels, and spotlighting that Fox News channel, which carried the live event, had its best Saturday night ratings in its nearly 25-year history. Speaking of ratings in Fox News, I don't know if you guys saw Tucker Carlson. In the past week, he started averaging 4.33 million viewers per episode, which shattered records for cable news. So again, you can see that silent majority. They're paying attention. They're getting involved. Other people who are maybe starting to see, the mask has been slipping on the mainstream media deep state narrative. People are starting to see through it. They're starting to say, well, let me go see what faux news is talking about. And then they turn on, Fox News. They like to call it faux news. And they see Tucker Carlson, and he's speaking truth, and he's calling people out, the right people on both sides. He's not afraid to call out Republicans. And they say, wow, this is not what I thought was happening. I hear a lot of people, you go to Trump rallies, and people think it's all a bunch of racists running around, and then they go there, and they see that the energy is electric, and it's all love. Like, there's no racists at all. There's black people, white people, Hispanic people, and they're all just cheering and having a good time, hanging out together, supporting the ideals and values of freedom. And it's invigorating. I have not been to a Trump rally, and I'm begging that he has one out here in California, because I want to go to one so bad. I want to go to a Trump rally so bad. I just think the energy is just going to be electric. And I want to experience that. And I'd love to take one of my more moderate friends that has all of these preconceived notions about Trump because they're shaded by the mainstream media, take him to a Trump rally and let them see what the energy is really like. Let them see that these aren't a bunch of racists. These are just a bunch of people that love America. And then it's such an energy that you can get swept up in. That's going to change so many hearts and minds. But you can see clips and snippets online, and it's not going to have the same effect. You got to be in there and feel that energy just like encompassing all around you. So I'm really hoping, Trump, if you see this, come out and have a rally in LA. I'll be there. All right. Days ahead of the Tulsa rally, the president and his campaign announced upcoming rallies in Florida, North Carolina, Arizona, and Texas. When asked on Tuesday the status of those events, Trump campaign communications director Tim Murtaugh told the reporters, "We have never had a practice of announcing a rally until it is confirmed and ready to go." Biden's taking of questions for the first time in 3 months was aimed at muting the repeated attacks by the Trump campaign over the former vice president's lack of news conferences. Yeah, because he's not even campaigning. I mean, he's supposed to be the presumptive Democratic candidate for the president of the United States of America, and he's hiding in his damn basement. These lefties like to call Trump bunker boy because when they were attacking the White House, the Secret Security forcibly dragged him down into the Situation Room. Meanwhile, their own candidate is like the supreme bunker boy. He hasn't come out of his own bunker for months. Jeez. All right. Bunker Biden. Yeah, Bunker Biden. There we go. Anyway, you hear anyone call Trump bunker boy, be like, hold on, is being dragged down to the Situation Room by your security detail, by the Secret Service, worse than Bunker Biden, who has been living in the bunker for 3 months now? I don't think they're going to have a retort for that. Ooh, that went down wrong. Let's see, where was I? Less than an hour before the former vice president's event, Murtaugh noted that in the 89 days since Biden had last held a news conference, President Trump has held 55 question and answer sessions with reporters. Yeah, because Trump's just going to stand up there and say, "Bring it at me," because he can own them. This does not include one-on-one sit-down interviews with individual outlets, so it's even more than 55. Dude's a boss. He claimed that Biden's lack of news conferences reveals that he is not up to the job and that Biden can't stand the bright lights and scrutiny. Every time he ventures out of his basement, he makes some grave error that his campaign has to deal with for several days to follow. I saw a hilarious meme. Again, I know, talking about memes. There's a picture of somebody outside hitting a cigarette, like, and it says Trump's campaign man. I mean, not Trump, Biden's campaign manager every time he opens his mouth in public, something along that. I'm gonna find it. I gotta look for it. I gotta find it, and I'll post it to my parlay. So go follow me on Parlay. You'll see some of these spicy memes that putting out there. All right. The president, his election campaign, and allies have also repeatedly questioned Biden's health and mental acuity during the past couple of months. Last month, the president's charged that Biden's not mentally sharp enough to be president, and that the former vice president doesn't know he's alive. That's why we love Trump. He's willing to go there. And earlier this month, during an interview with Fox News, Trump claimed that Joe's not all there. Everybody knows it, and it's sad to see when you look at it and you see it. He's not all there. When asked by Fox News' Doug McElway if he's checking for cognitive decline, Biden responded, "I'm constantly testing," and he stressed that I can hardly wait to compare my cognitive ability to the cognitive ability of the man I'm running against. What, did he forget Trump's name? The cognitive ability of the man I'm running against. It sounds like he forgot Trump's name. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe I'm presuming a little bit. But it sounds like he forgot Trump's name while he's talking about his cognitive abilities. Questions about the 74-year-old president's health have once again surfaced in recent weeks. Oh, so they're talking about Trump now. Following pictures of Trump at the commencement ceremony at the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. A clip of Trump slowly and carefully descending a ramp from the podium at West Point Superintendent Lieutenant General Darrell A. Williams walked alongside him, went viral, and spurred media questions over his health. Now, he addressed this at his rally in Tulsa, where he talked about he was, they put out this flat, steel ramp, this metal ramp that, wasn't, it was just flat metal. And he was wearing leather-soled shoes. Now, I wear cowboy boots most of the day with leather-soled shoes. And I can say that, yes, it's a slip and slide. Leather-soled shoes are not good for walking on that surface. Like I said, I wear leather-soled shoes all the damn time. So I can concur with Trump that, yeah, walking down a slick incline in leather-soled shoes is definitely not, he's sitting there worried, am I going to slip and bust my ass? That'd be even worse. But I'd probably have the same concerns myself. So anyways, guys, this was the article. I just wanted to have some fun, poke some fun at Joe Biden, and, cheer on Trump some. I didn't want to have any angry videos today, any revved up type videos. So bringing out some good news, bringing out some love and positivity, guys. I hope you don't forget to like, share, comment. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. I'm cranking out 2 videos a day. I'm also still working on my revved up videos. All kinds of great content coming for you. So please subscribe, stay tuned. Let's make a community out of Ram Thorburn here. Let's make a community out of this channel. I've already got some people that have been coming back on my Facebook pages. If you guys have been commenting on the video, my Facebook posts, where I post these videos, I've been conversing back and forth with you. I want to thank you guys for coming back. I love that you do. I love you for checking in. I love you for your support. We're all in this together, so we're all a team. I think that's about all I got for you today, though. So, Thorburn out.